Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here, and I'm happy to be here today to do this paint by number kit with you. I'm assuming if you're here that you have purchased this paint by number kit, so thank you for purchasing it, and thanks for coming to paint along with me today. So hopefully in your box everything will be there for you. You should have received your wood canvas with the lines burned on, ready to go. On the back, I don't have it on this one, this test one here, but you will have a little hanging Sawtooth Hanger there attached to it, and the name will be burnt in at the bottom. And you should have received two paintbrushes, one kind of wider like mine here. This one you can see I've used a little bit though, and I'm going to use that one today. Yours will be orange, and kind of a thinner one as well. Along with those, you will have received the painting instructions and tips and the color guide on the opposite side. This one obviously isn't for this painting, but you will have the one that corresponds with your painting there. If you've purchased one of these before and this is another one that you're doing, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. It's been fun to make these, and I hope that you are enjoying being able to make some artwork kind of unique with some wood burning and acrylic paint. Here we go. So this painting here, as you can see, is of two orcas or killer whales, and we're going to be using mostly all Liquitex Basics paint throughout the whole thing. And as we go through, I'll give you some tips as we go, and I just hope that you enjoy your time through this. Oh, and I guess the last thing I didn't mention that you will get is these paint little canisters filled with the paint, and numbers will be on the top to correspond with your color guide there, so you know where to put the proper colors. The first color that we'll be using on the top of the sky is a cerulean blue hue, so you can just get that out of your little can there. And I guess something I should have mentioned, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, is what I didn't include in your package there is just like a piece of paper towel or something to wipe your brush off with, and like a jar or a cup or something for you to rinse your brush off with when you're done. Most of these colors will probably take 2 layers of paint to really get going here. And I'm using the wider brush, as you can see there, but if you want to use the smaller brush, that is fine. And we're really just spreading out this paint here. A lot of times when I paint, I like to have music on in the background, or a show or something that I enjoy watching. So if you want to mute this and do that, I don't blame you at all. Throughout it, I'll just kind of talk a little bit. I might talk a little bit about what I'm doing, and I might just share some of my thoughts about random things along as we go. So acrylic paint dries really fast, which some people like and some people don't. I do like it most of the time, as it allows me to add layers fairly quickly, and then I'm not waiting around for it to dry. I'm going to turn it sideways here, as you can see. That's because it's easier to paint up against the line for me, since I'm right-handed, to having the canvas this way. Anything I do here is obviously just suggestions. If something works better for you, I encourage you to do that. If you've ever painted along with me before, you'll know that I'm a strong advocate of, doing art your way, what you like best. And I'll only add suggestions here or there as we go. But art in all forms is very subjective, and so I want you to enjoy it, and just you go how you want to. Alright, so there's the first layer of that blue done. Before we add the second layer, I do want to let that dry just a little bit, because if you go in and add a second layer right away, then it doesn't always layer as nicely. Sometimes you'll end up pulling up some of the paint instead. So I'm just rinsing off my brush here. I just have a mason jar that I use, and to dry off my brush I just have old clothes that I've cut up, and I use that to rinse off brushes instead of paper towel and stuff. Try to be a little environmentally friendly. So while we wait for that top layer to dry, I'm just going to get started on this one down here, and this is going to be our light blue permanent. And we'll do a layer of this and then go back and do the other top layer there as well. Okay. Probably too much, but that's okay. No, it might not be. This is a pretty big space. It's the same idea, just nice broad strokes, fill in that space as we go. And this painting is kind of based around what you'd see in the Vancouver Island area. I've been fortunate enough to have gone out there a few times in my life. To the islands only once, but to Vancouver a few times, and hope to make it out there again sometime. Alright, again I'm going to turn the canvas here and work in along the lines. If you ever need to pause or anything, or if you're going slower or faster or whatever, just adjust the speed as you go and go at the speed that is comfortable for you. I don't want you to feel rushed, or I don't want you to feel held back. So you might already know this, but maybe you don't. But all of these lines on this design here, I do them digitally first on my computer so I can make easy adjustments. And then once I have a design that I like, then they're all, I burn them in by hand onto these wooden canvases. That's what really makes these unique, is that kind of the mixture of burning and acrylic paint. So if you see little black pieces kind of pop up sometimes, that's just from the burnt lines. That's all that is. Alright, so that first layer of that one's in, and sometimes when I'm using just the same color scheme, just a different shade or tint, then I'll just wipe off my brush instead and then just start using that next color. Don't always feel like you need to totally rinse it off every single time. So we'll go back in and add this second layer of cerulean blue. And you'll see that this second layer, now that the first one is dried, is really making a nice solid color for us. I'm hoping to have just enough here. You'll notice the second layer doesn't take as much paint. Yeah, I should end up having enough here. Oh yeah, we got some leftovers here. Alright, there's that second layer of the blue. I'm gonna wipe off what I have here. And we'll get in with this light blue permanent here. And again, you'll notice right away that it is a much brighter color without the wood showing through as much. It really is a nice looking blue. I'm just going to turn this sideways right now, because that's more comfortable for me. Sorry, there's a piece of little black piece that ended up getting painted. So a blue piece instead of a black piece. This one will be the 7th paint by number kit designed. And it'll be the first one that is an 8 by 10 that I release, I guess I should say, because I'm designing a few others right now that are 8 by 10. You'll notice the first 6 designs that I did, they were all 8 by 8. But then I decided to do some that were also 8 by 10. So if you've looked at my other designs, I have one of the lighthouse in Peggy's Cove, one of Lake Moraine, one of Lake Louise, one of some grain elevators, one of the Cardston Temple, and I'm missing one. I'm trying to remember what it is. So Lake Moraine, Lake Louise, Peggy's Cove, grain elevators, temple. Oh, a rose. That's why I was trying to think of a place, but no, that one's not a place. It's just of a red rose. Alright, that second layer of that blue is done. However, I do use that blue. You'll notice that there is that number 2 there. I just got paint all over my fingers. There is that number 2 there and a couple of other spots down in the ocean area there. So while I have this paint out for me, I am going to go in and fill in those spots. If you want to wait and do that once you get further down in the painting, that's fine. Yeah, work however you want to. For me, with the paint by number kits, or even when I'm painting some of the more complex ones that I do in this kind of style, once I get a color going, I like to just finish that color and then move on from that color there. So I'm gonna keep on going with this light blue here. There's this spot, and up here that are all going to be light blue. And we'll do 2 layers of these as well. Hopefully by the time I'm done the other ones here, we'll be able to go back and just do that second layer on that first one that we just did there. first layer I was on there. Let's go back here. Yeah, that's dry enough. I couldn't see it on this first finger. Oh, you can't really see it too much on the camera. I got paint on that finger from the palette, not from here. I usually do pretty good at keeping my hands clean while painting, but every once in a while it just doesn't work. If you want a little bit of texture in the water parts down here, just paint it a little bit thicker and the brush strokes will show through. Alright, there is the next layer of that done. So I'm going to wipe off my brush now. Or I guess rinse off, I should say, different than wiping it off. And I'll try it here. Alright, we're going to move down and do these two green spots. So here I've got some light green permanent. And here I was debating between the light green or more like a forest green. At this moment I've gone with light green, but if in yours you see that it is a forest green, that's just because I've changed what I think would look better and decided to go with that. So don't be alarmed if you see a different if you see a different green, or if yours shows up darker than mine for some reason. But I was thinking a nice light green would be nice, so we'll see here. Because this is my first time actually painting this one. I guess physically painting it. I've painted it digitally, as I said before, but this is the first time putting real color onto it, and so sometimes I change my mind of what I want to see. And this green, as you can see, it's pretty transparent, so you're definitely going to want 2 solid coats. We might need to leave this, let it dry here. Before we add that second coat like I was talking about before. And yeah, so I think we're going to do that. So I'm going to rinse this off here and dry it. We'll do the 2 gray rocks here, so we're going to be using a neutral gray 5. If you ever have any ideas of something that you would like me to design as a paint by number kit, I'm always more than happy to take suggestions of something that you would like. So if something does come to mind, just put it in the comments below or send me a message. Whatever works. You know what? I just realized now that I didn't even paint the clouds. We'll have to go back in and paint the clouds. It's probably might be an earlier number on yours, on your number set, than the green and the gray that we just did. But after we did the blue in the water there, I totally forgot. Alright, first layer of the gray on there. Now we're going to go back and do a second layer of the green. We'll do a second layer of the gray. Then we'll go back and do those clouds and a little bit of white that's on the killer whales too. If you've been enjoying this, I would encourage you to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. You don't know how much it helps and how much it means when I have people on my channel. So I thank you for being here and encourage you to do that. Alright, we'll do the second layer of this gray here. Alright, the gray is done. Let's rinse off this brush. And now we'll go in and do the white. And then we just have two of the blues. So it's just titanium white. Let's put a little bit of this down here. So we'll be using this titanium white for the two clouds, and then on the killer whales themselves. And you'll notice very quickly that white on wood, that first layer is going to be very transparent. Unless you're using a very high professional grade paint, it's going to be pretty transparent. Okay, first layer on the clouds done. We'll leave those for a second. Go down and do these spots on the whales. If you want to use the smaller brush here, that's totally fine. In any of these places, if you want to use the smaller brush where I'm using the bigger one, don't feel like you need to use the bigger one just because I am. Just gonna wait 2 seconds for the first layer to dry there. Just gonna grab a drink. Grab some more white, and we'll start spreading that second layer on. Sometimes with white I'll go as far as even doing a third layer if I really want. I think in this video I'm just going to do 2, but if you want to add a third, that would not be a bad thing if you have white paint there to use. Alright, gonna rinse that brush off. And then we'll move into our two different blues in the ocean there. So the first one, kind of the medium color one, is just called a brilliant blue. Put a little bit of that down. So brilliant blue, as you can see on your paint guide, we got a few different spots we're going to be using that one on. I'm just going to turn this sideways right now, because I know that's how I'm going to want it as we're doing these spots in here. So if you want to use that smaller brush, that's why I have it in there. So don't be afraid to use that. You can see I got a little white spot on this blue here. I might need to do another little spot touch up on that one there, but that's okay. It's actually a pretty good blue. It's pretty opaque, to be honest. Probably still do a second layer, but it doesn't need it as much as other colors do, that's for sure. I had another killer whale design kind of in the works, with one jumping out of the water. If that's something that you think you would like, just let me know and maybe I'll bring that one to fruition. Alright, then we'll be going here, here, and then here and here. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how opaque this blue is. I won't need much of a second coat to really make that a solid color. Okay, that first layer is all in there. I'm gonna add a second layer just to a few spots here. Well, I say a few spots, it'll probably end up being the whole thing, but just it won't take as much paint as what a lot of the other second layers ended up taking, so. Drop the brush. That's okay. Smear that a little bit there. I'll be painting over that with the darker blue anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. I'm gonna add a little bit more to my palette here. I'm just a little bit short. Okay. Actually, now that I look at it, I just need a little bit more blue. And I'm just gonna wipe this one off right now. And the last kind of blue we're using is a cobalt blue hue. And it's those remaining spots in the sea that aren't the whale. So it's much darker of a blue, but it'll add a nice contrast to those lighter blues. A lot of blue in this one, but that's what ocean life is, right? A lot of different kinds of blues between the sky and the ocean. And blue happens to be my favorite color. Well, I guess that's what I say. I don't know if it actually is. I like all different colors for different reasons. This blue is definitely gonna need a second layer, which is fine. I don't know why I always say that. Every color is needing a second layer. We're painting on wood. That's what happens. Alright, now we'll go back and do that second layer of this cobalt blue. Alright, those two blues are in. I'm just gonna rinse off the brush here. And the last color that we have to add here is the black of the whales. Funny enough, I don't actually have the Liquitex Basics of black on me right now, so I'm just going to be using a different black that I have, but for your kits I will have the black ready to go. That's on my list of things to get this week. I didn't realize that until I got everything set up and I was about to paint, and I was like, oh, where's the black? Alright, so now's the time if you have any spots that you want to fix up or need to do another little layer over, you can go ahead and do that. I think I need to do a little layer over the top there. I've got some white specks I need to fix up, and then a little bit of blue here. One little trick, if you painted quite a bit in the lines that have been burned, one thing that I do is I take a black pen that I have, and I will just run it in the lines here. And not only does it scratch up some of that paint, that gets in there, but it also just colors over some of that paint as well, to kind of reinstate that there are those black lines there. So that's something you can do if you would like. And yeah, so there you go. There is your nice killer whale painting. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I appreciate you being here painting this with me today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You can see all the paint by number kits that are available on my website, www.briansloanartist.com, and we will see you next time.